You know that feeling when life just gets too loud, work stress, family arguments, or even those endless phone notifications? Did you know 90% of Americans say they lose their cool at least once a week? What if you could stay calm, no matter what life throws at you? Today, I'm sharing ancient Buddhist secrets that transformed my life, and they can change yours too. Let's dive into the first secret, the power of silent strength. We've all heard that old saying, the loudest person in the room is often the weakest. And you know what? There's truth to that. In our busy lives, we're taught to react, to raise our voice when someone cuts us off in traffic or to snap back when a coworker challenges us. But Buddhist wisdom teaches us something different. True strength isn't in shouting or fighting back. It's in staying silent, staying still, and staying in control. Picture a monk standing perfectly still, even as the wind howls around him. He's not weak, he's powerful. Those monks train for years, not just to master punches and kicks, but to master their minds. They learn that yelling or reacting impulsively gives away your power. Instead, silence lets you keep it. Let me tell you about Jane, a 52-year-old CEO I met at a conference. During a heated boardroom argument, everyone was shouting, trying to prove their point. But Jane? She sat quietly, listening, taking it all in. When she finally spoke, her calm words carried so much weight that the room went silent. Her stillness wasn't weakness, it was strength. And it earned her respect. Coming up, I'll share how I used this exact principle to handle a family conflict without losing my peace. Stay tuned. You won't want to miss this. So, why is reacting so tempting? It's human nature, right? When someone disrespects you, like that neighbor who always complains about your lawn, or when you're stuck in a meeting that's going nowhere. Your heart races, your fists clench, and you want to jump in. But here's the mistake we make. Reacting instantly drains your energy and escalates the problem. Think about the last time you snapped at someone. Did it solve anything, or did it just leave you feeling drained? Buddhist wisdom teaches us that silence is strategic. A 2019 study found that pausing for just 10 seconds before responding can reduce conflict by 40%. That's the power of stillness. Compare someone who yells in an argument, losing control, looking frantic, to a monk who stands unmoved, like a mountain in a storm. The monk isn't passive, he's choosing when to act. And that choice makes him powerful. Next time you feel that urge to react, whether it's a snarky email or a family spat, pause for 10 seconds. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself, is this worth my peace? Most of the time, it's not. That pause is your first step to silent strength. Let me share a moment that changed me. A few years ago, my boss called me out in front of my whole team, said my work wasn't up to par. My chest tightened, my face got hot, and I wanted to defend myself right there. But I remembered something I'd read about Buddhist monks. They don't react to every provocation. So, I took a deep breath, stayed silent, and just listened. Later, I approached my boss calmly, and we had a productive talk. That moment didn't just save my job, it taught me that silence can be my greatest strength. And trust me, at 55, I've learned that keeping your cool is a game changer. Now that we've seen how silence can be your superpower, you might be wondering, what about those emotions that bubble up inside? Are they who you really are? Let's explore the next Buddhist secret to find out. Have you ever caught yourself saying, I'm so angry, or I'm just too stressed? At our age, we've all been there, feeling like our emotions are running the show. But what if I told you that those emotions aren't who you are at all? Let's explore how you can find peace by realizing you're not your emotions. There's a beautiful Buddhist teaching that says you are not your emotions, you're the one watching them. Picture a clear blue sky, steady and calm. Now imagine clouds drifting across it, some fluffy, some stormy. Those clouds are your emotions, anger, stress, sadness. They come and go. But the sky? That's you, unchanging and still. Monks spend hours meditating, not to stop their thoughts or feelings, but to observe them without getting swept away. That's the secret. You're the sky, not the clouds. Let me tell you about Sarah, a 58-year-old nurse I know. In the chaos of the beeping machines, upset patients, endless pressure, she stays calm. How? She told me she imagines her stress as a cloud passing through her mind. She notices it, but she doesn't become it. That lets her focus on saving lives instead of burning out. By seeing her emotions as temporary, she keeps her inner peace. No matter how crazy things get. Stick around, because up next, I'm sharing this simple 1-minute trick to detach from overwhelming emotions in any situation. You won't want to miss this. So why do we get so caught up in our emotions? It's easy to think, I'm angry, so that's who I am. But that's a trap. When you identify with your emotions, like getting mad when your adult kids don't call or feeling anxious about retirement, you give them control. That's the mistake most of us make. We let temporary feelings define us. A 2021 study showed that practicing mindfulness, like those monks, can reduce stress by 30% in high-pressure jobs. Why? Because noticing your emotions without acting on them creates space for calm. Compare two people. One who snaps at their spouse over a small disagreement, letting anger take over, and another who feels that same anger but pauses, breathes, and lets it pass like a cloud. The second person is practicing Buddhist wisdom, observing, not becoming, their emotions. That's what makes them powerful. Here's a small takeaway for you. Next time you feel overwhelmed, maybe stuck in traffic or frustrated with a friend, say to yourself, "This is just a cloud passing through." Take a deep breath and watch it fade. That simple shift can save your peace. Let me share something personal. A couple of years ago, a close friend betrayed my trust, shared something private I told them. I felt this wave of anger and hurt, like a storm inside me. In the past, I'd have called them up, ready to argue, but I'd been reading about Buddhist mindfulness. So I tried something different. I sat quietly, closed my eyes, and just noticed the anger, like a cloud moving across my mind. I didn't push it away or feed it. In a few minutes, it started to dissolve, and I felt calm again. That choice not only saved my peace but helped me have an honest, healing talk with my friend later. At 60, I've learned that letting go of those emotional storms is true freedom. So, we've learned we're not our emotions, we're the sky behind them. But what do you do when those emotions rise? Tempting you to react? Let's dive into the next Buddhist secret. The power of choosing observation over reaction. Ever said something in the heat of the moment and regretted it later? We've all been there, whether it's snapping at a spouse or firing off an angry email. But what if you could choose a different way? We're exploring a Buddhist secret that's helped me stay calm when life gets heated. Let's dive into the power of choosing to observe, not react. There's a part of you that's always watching, a quiet, steady presence that notices your emotions without getting caught up in them. Buddhist wisdom calls this the observer, and it's your key to staying in control. Monks don't train just to fight, they train to master their minds. When anger or frustration rises, they notice it, like watching a wave rise and fall, without jumping in. That choice to observe, not react, is what keeps them grounded. Let me tell you about Mark, a 62-year-old high school teacher I know. One day, a student yelled at him in class, frustrated about a grade. Instead of shouting back, Mark paused, took a deep breath, and just listened. His calm response not only de-escalated the situation but earned the student's respect. By choosing to observe his own frustration, Mark turned a tense moment into a teaching one. That's the power of this Buddhist principle. It gives you control when the world tries to pull you into chaos. Coming up, I'll share how I stopped reacting to online trolls and found peace instead. Stay with me. You're going to love this. Why is reacting so tempting? When someone cuts you off in traffic or your coworker takes credit for your idea, it feels natural to fire back. But that's the mistake we make. Reacting hands your power to someone else. A 2020 psychology study found that pausing for just 5 seconds before responding can cut impulsive reactions in half. That pause is where the magic happens. It's where you choose observation over chaos. Think about two people. One who argues back in a family spat, raising their voice and escalating the fight. And another who feels that same anger but takes a moment to breathe and watch it pass. The second person is practicing Buddhist wisdom, like a monk standing firm in a storm. Here's a small takeaway for you. When you feel that urge to react, maybe to a rude comment or a stressful email, count to 5 slowly. Notice your emotions without acting on them. That simple pause can keep you calm and in control. Let me share a story from my own life. Last year, I posted a video online, and someone left a nasty comment, called my work pointless. My first instinct was to clap back, to defend myself. But I'd been studying Buddhist teachings, so I tried something new. I closed my laptop, took a deep breath, and just watched the anger bubble up inside me. I didn't argue or stew. In a few minutes, that anger faded, and I realized the comment wasn't worth my peace. At 57, I've learned that choosing to observe, not react, is like finding a quiet center in life's storms. It's freed me in ways I never expected. Now that we know how to observe instead of react, what happens when we're holding on to things that keep us stuck? Let's explore the next Buddhist secret: how detachment can set you free. Do you ever feel like you're constantly chasing approval? Maybe from your kids, your boss, or even strangers online? At our age, it's easy to get caught up in wanting things to go a certain way. But what if letting go could set you free? Now we're diving into a Buddhist secret that's changed how I live. Let's explore how detachment can unlock true freedom in your life. Detachment isn't about shutting people out or not caring. It's about letting go of the need for things to be a certain way. Buddhist wisdom teaches that our suffering comes from clinging to expectations, like needing respect, approval, or control. When we hold on too tight, we tie our peace to things outside us. And that's a recipe for stress. Instead, detachment means flowing with life, like a stream moving around rocks. Take Linda, a 60-year-old entrepreneur I met at a workshop. She spent years chasing investor approval for her startup, stressing over every rejection. Then she embraced detachment, focusing on her vision instead of others' opinions. By letting go of needing their validation, she built a thriving business on her own terms. Detachment didn't make her cold, it made her free to create without fear. Stick around, because I'm about to share a simple question that helped me break free from my own attachments. You don't want to miss this. Why do we hold on so tight? It's natural to want approval, like hoping your family appreciates your efforts or worrying about what neighbors think of your new car. But here's the mistake we make. We let those expectations control our happiness. A 2021 study found that people who tie their self-worth to external validation, like social media likes or praise, report 25% higher stress levels. When you're attached to outcomes, every disappointment feels like a personal failure. Compare two people. One who gets upset when their adult child skips a family dinner, feeling disrespected, and another who feels the sting but lets it go, knowing their peace doesn't depend on others' actions. The second person is practicing Buddhist detachment, like a monk who stays calm no matter what. Here's a small takeaway for you. When you feel upset, ask yourself, what am I holding on to? Maybe it's the need to be right or to be liked. Naming that attachment is the first step to letting it go, and it'll feel like a weight lifting off your shoulders. Let me share a moment that changed me. A few years back, I was obsessed with getting my coworkers' approval at my old job. Every time they overlooked my ideas, I'd stew for days, feeling invisible. Then I learned about Buddhist detachment and tried a new approach. I started focusing on my work, not their opinions. One day, when a colleague dismissed my project, I just smiled and kept going. That shift felt like a cage opening. I was free to be myself without needing their nod. At 59, I found that letting go of those expectations has given me more peace than I ever imagined. So, detachment frees us from the chains of expectation. But how do we stay steady in a world full of distractions? Let's dive into the next Buddhist secret: how to focus your energy to unlock unstoppable power. Does it ever feel like your day is swallowed by distractions, phone notifications, endless emails, or worrying about what others think? At our age, it's easy to feel scattered. But what if you could channel your energy like a laser beam? Welcome back. So we're exploring the last Buddhist secret today that's helped me find unstoppable power through focus. Let's dive in and see how your attention can transform your life. There's an old Buddhist saying, energy flows where attention goes. When you focus your mind, you build power. When you let it wander, you lose it. Monks don't just train their bodies, they train their minds through meditation and repetitive tasks. Like practicing a single move for hours. It's not about doing more, it's about doing what matters. In our world, distractions like social media or constant news can steal our energy, leaving us exhausted before the day's done. Let me tell you about Ellen, a 64-year-old writer I know. She was struggling to finish her novel, always checking her phone or worrying about deadlines. Then she tried a Buddhist-inspired trick. She turned off notifications, set a timer for 30 minutes, and focused only on writing. In 6 months, she finished her book, something she'd dreamed of for years. By directing her attention, Ellen turned her scattered energy into real power. Stick around, because I'm about to share a 1-minute focus hack that changed how I work and live. You're going to want to try this. Why do we feel so drained? It's not always because we're doing too much, it's because our attention is pulled in 1,000 directions. Checking your phone every 5 minutes, stewing over a neighbor's comment, or scrolling through news feeds, it all leaks your energy. A 2022 study found that multitasking, like jumping between tasks, cuts productivity by 20%. The mistake we make is thinking we can handle it all. But a scattered mind is a weakened mind. Compare two people. One who's constantly distracted, checking emails during family dinner, and another who sets aside an hour to focus on one task. Like a monk perfecting a single move, the focused person gets more done and feels stronger. Here's a small takeaway for you. Try the one-task rule. For 10 minutes today, pick one thing, like writing a letter or gardening, and give it your full attention. Turn off your phone, ignore distractions, and notice how powerful you feel when your energy isn't split. Let me share something personal. A few years ago, I was drowning in distractions, emails, social media, you name it. I'd start my day stressed, jumping from one thing to another. Then I tried a Buddhist focus trick I learned. I started each morning with 5 minutes of quiet. Just focusing on my breath. No phone, no to-do list. That small habit changed everything. I started getting more done in 2 hours than I used to in a whole day. At 61, I've learned that focusing my energy doesn't just make me productive, it makes me feel alive and in control. So, we've seen how focusing your energy builds power. But how do we tie all these Buddhist secrets together to live with peace and strength? Let's wrap up with some final thoughts and a challenge to transform your life. So, friends, today we've journeyed through 5 Buddhist secrets: finding strength in silence, seeing emotions as passing clouds, choosing to observe instead of react, embracing detachment for freedom, and channeling your focus to build power. These principles changed my life at 59, helping me find peace in a chaotic world. Take a moment to reflect. What's one thing you can let go of today? A worry, a reaction, a distraction? To feel that same calm? I'd love to hear from you. Comment below. What's one distraction or expectation you're ready to release to find peace? Hit that subscribe button for more life-changing wisdom. And don't miss next week's video on mastering mindfulness in a busy world. Let's keep walking this path together.